Hello friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story about a crazy mom. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. You have to give it for free. You know my son isn't normal. So for context, I used to be a teacher at an English school here in Brazil. Most of my students were young kids, and usually the other teachers would send me the kids who had some difficulties in learning. That was probably because I would do little games and different activities that often motivated them during class. Most teachers wouldn't do things like that because we were only paid for the time we spend doing school things, so I kinda worked extra for free, but I didn't care as long as the kids were happy. Well, then there was this kid that the other teacher said was a nightmare. I related to him really quickly, and it was quite clear to me that he had ADHD, and so do I. So it wasn't hard to find a way to make him interested in my classes. But the fun didn't last long. His mom called me one day, and it went, "Annoying mom. Hey, darling, how are you?" Me. "I'm fine. What about you? Is there anything I can help you with?" "Oh, I'm glad you asked. My son is enjoying your classes very much. He told me you play games with him and such." "I'm really happy to hear that. I find the games are a better way to learn." "He said the same. Ha ha ha. So I came to talk to you about something. I already contacted the school and they said it was a great idea. So I'd like for you to spend some time with my son and play a lot of educational games with him." "So you want me to teach him some extra English classes?" "My schedule's quite busy these days. I'm not sure if I can do it, but there are a bunch of other teachers at the school." "Hey, don't worry about it. I'll contact the school and you won't need to teach any other kid, so you can focus on my son and teach him everything he needs to know for school." "Do you want me to teach him every school subject?" Yes, you're his private teacher." "I'm only qualified to teach English for beginners. I can't teach anything else. And I want to keep my classes. But he can only learn with you. He needs you." "Fine, I can try to give him a few classes, but I'll charge the same amount as I would get at school since I'm letting go of that job in order to work for you." "Charge?" "Yes." "I didn't know I had to pay you. I already pay the school. I don't need to pay you." "I'm an employee at an English school. You pay them for English classes. But you said you're not qualified. It doesn't make sense to pay you." "If you want somebody qualified, there are a bunch of private teachers out there who can do amazing jobs, especially with kids that can't learn easily. But their prices are too high. You're being petty. You know it's difficult not being normal." "You shouldn't use those words. Your kid's really smart. He just needs a little bit more motivation. You can do that yourself if you try." "Are you calling me a bad mom? You know what? I'll get your butt fired of that school." "Well, she did try, and my boss told me to do the job even if I wasn't getting paid because the mom was popular or something, and it would be a bad thing if she talked trash about the school. I left that job after 2 weeks because they would do anything to keep the students. And I was underpaid." And our second story. Crazy customer gets a pants full of Jack Daniels and acts shocked when he's caught. At the beginning of May, I'd gotten promoted to a service manager at a pretty popular Midwestern grocery store. I've been working for this store for about 3 years now and am pretty excited to finally be working my way up the chain. With my new responsibilities as a service manager, I now have many new, interesting stories to share with others. One of my many duties as a service manager is either to open the front end, 7A to 3P, or close the front end, 3P to 11P, and help watch over the cashiers, customer service, self-checkouts, do overrides, and of course either open or close the store. It's also important to note that many of the departments in the store have their own hours. For example, the hot food stations tend to close around 9 p.m., and our alcohol department closes at 10. The alcohol department has a gate that keeps customers locked out of the department until the store is fully closed. This story takes place on one of the nights I closed the store. It was about 10 minutes before closing time, and I'm chatting with my closing cashier. Let's call her Stella. Fake names for obvious reasons. I tell Stella that I'm going to close one of the 2 main entrances and that I'll be right back to help her with the last 2 customers that are still in the store. Around this time at night, there are only a handful of employees in the store. This includes myself, Stella, the other service manager who's running the back room, David, and the night stock manager, Caleb, and about 5 stockers. As I'm locking up one of the main entrances, in walks an older guy who's wearing a construction shirt and is looking as if he's in a rush. Before he gets too far into the store, I stop him for a moment. "Sir, just so you know, we're closing in about 8 minutes." The guy nods his head and responds with, "Of course, I just need one thing and I'll be quick." Now this normally happens, and 90% of the time they're correct and they're out of the store pretty quickly. I nod and the man walks into the store as I go and lock the first main entrance. I come back to the registers to help Stella bag the last few orders that are going through her line. I then see Caleb coming up to me about a minute later. "Hey OP, do you have the wine and spirits key? I left my keys in my car on accident and a customer wants to grab something from over there." I say yes and hand him over my keys that are on my belt. Caleb says thanks, walks away, and I proceed to help one customer load her bags into her electric cart and offer to help her outside. I helped the customer out to her car with her groceries and made my way back into the store with her electric cart to plug it back in. The electric carts are kept in the second main entrance, which is the one I hadn't locked up yet. At this point, it was like 10:59 p.m. I was plugging in the electric cart when I see the man who just came in minutes ago walking out with a weird limp, along with Caleb, David, and 2 other stalkers following him. Caleb isn't yelling, but is obviously very annoyed. "Hey, come on, just give us the bottle. We know it's in your pants. We won't call the police, just hand it over and you won't get in trouble." The guy just responds with mumbling about how he put it back on the shelf, he wasn't stealing crap, and that we were accusing him of stealing. The guy proceeds to walk out of the store to his car and then drives off in a hurry. At this point, I'm looking at Caleb in utter confusion. We get the doors locked, and then he explains the story. After Caleb had gotten my keys, he went to let the guy into wine and spirits so he could grab a bottle of alcohol. This is normally no problem, as we let people do this all the time. Caleb had unlocked the gate and let the guy walk inside to grab what he needed. He watched as the guy grabbed a bottle of Jack Daniels off the shelf and then walked out of the department. The guy says thanks and starts to walk away when Caleb's locking the gate. The guy darts into one of the nearby aisles, and once Caleb was done locking the gate, he notices the guy come back out of the aisle, this time walking weirdly and without the bottle. Obviously, Caleb isn't stupid and immediately runs after the guy, telling him to stop. This catches the attention of David and 2 other stalkers who happen to be near the front end, and they soon appear, following Caleb, who's trailing behind this guy, who very obviously just shoved a bottle of whiskey down his pants. The whole parade of people walks halfway across the store, just following this man, telling him to stop before getting to the main entrance. What I still don't understand is that out of all the bottles of whiskey he could have grabbed, we carry some pretty high-end whiskey. He just grabbed a crappy bottle of $20 whiskey. And before anyone asks, yes, we did check the cameras, and yes, he did shove the bottle down his pants while he darted into an aisle. As much as I want there to be a more exciting ending, all we ended up doing was alerting our store director, got his photo from the cameras, and sent the tape to the police. Nothing's really come of it since, sadly. He'll probably return, since he was successful the first time. There's no way this boy owns a Mercedes-Benz. Background. I volunteer at a conference facility where they have large conferences and need extra hands. It's owned by a family friend of mine, so I don't mind running a few errands and helping out where I can. For most of my errand running, I use my mom's car and leave her with mine. We have the exact same car, but hers is a station wagon and mine's a sedan, and that extra boot space in the station wagon is perfect for shopping. Story. For this particular encounter, I was sent to buy 500 water bottles, among other things, for a conference that weekend. When I go to the store, I go to the manager to place the order and pay. Due to the large amount of bottles that I needed, he couldn't get them from the shelves, but rather he'd get them filled. He said it'd take about 45 minutes, as he only had one of the workers who normally works at the water station instead of the normal 3 workers. I decided to go and do some other shopping at the mall. 45 minutes later, I return and find that only 200 bottles had been filled, so I grabbed a nearby crate, sat down, and helped the guy that was filling the bottles. A little while later, we finish and take the boxes of bottles to the car. About halfway through the loading, the guy I was with was called back into the store, so he left me with the trolley of water to finish up. As I finish up and close the boot, I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around to see an old lady. Old lady. Show me where your leaks are. Me. Excuse me? Old lady. Don't be stupid, boy. Just show me where the damn leaks are. Me. Oh, no, sorry. I don't work at the store. Old lady. Don't lie to me, boy. I saw you in the store filling those bottles and now loading them in this customer's car. You're even wearing part of the uniform. I was wearing tan sweatpants and a black New York hoodie. Store uniform is black slacks and a black sweater with a logo on the front and back. Me. Oh, no, I am the customer and this is my car. Old lady. I'm going to report you to the manager for lying to me. Me. But I'm... And the old lady grabbed my car keys from my hand and started marching to the store. She took about 3 steps while my jaw dropped. I shout, "Can you at least lock the effing car?" She spins round and actually presses the lock button. After making sure the car was actually locked, I walk in after her to try to retrieve my keys. I find her talking to the chilled manager, who I know from a previous shopping trip. The old lady waves the keys. "This employee of yours is refusing to help me and is claiming this car is his. You should fire him and call the police because I'm sure he's trying to steal it." The manager looked at me, looked at the keys in the old lady's hand, and after a moment says, "I'll be calling the cops, but only because you have stolen his car keys, effectively stealing his car." Old lady, "There's no way this boy owns a Mercedes-Benz." I promise she said it like that. The store manager says, "Actually, ma'am, I've helped him put things in that car before. It's indeed his. Should I still get the police here?" He's only ever seen my car, not my mom's car, but the keys are identical. The old lady drops the keys, turns around, and does her best impression of scuttling crab inspired by Usain Bolt. The manager apologizes for the fiasco and offers a chocolate bar as an apology. I happily accept the chocolate bar and walk out of the store and see the old lady standing outside the store talking to someone about how she has been disrespected. And thank you all for watching the video to the end. I'll see you in the next one.